Does your anxiety get triggered when you're around someone else who is anxious? You're not alone. We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about that contagious feeling when you're around someone else who is anxious. Does that trigger you? Does that overwhelm you? You're not alone. My anxiety gets triggered when my kids are struggling, when they are anxious. And I've noticed that even if I'm near a stranger who I could tell is spiraling out of control with their anxiety, my anxiety starts to rev up. Do you do that? Do you notice that? So what can we do when we're doing all the things that we need to do to use our coping mechanisms and our skills and reframing our thoughts to ground ourselves and be able to handle our own anxiety, and then somebody else comes in like a little tornado and overwhelms us? Well, the first thing to know is that there is a reason why that happens. Like, a lot of anxious people are sensitive to other people's emotions and are much more in tune and aware to other people's emotions, which is a double-edged sword, because it's nice that you are so in tune and in touch and sensitive and aware. Makes you a much better friend, a better child, to your parents, a better partner, a better everything, a better human being, because you are empathetic, kind-hearted, you understand people. That's a superpower, and I love that. The other component, though, the other part that can be a problem, is that you do pick up on people's emotions. And so when they are overwhelming emotions, you sense that and you pick that up. There is something called neurons. Well, there is obviously neurons, but there's something called mirror neurons, and mirror neurons actually kind of mirror other people's emotions. And so there's a physiological aspect to this, that your neurons are like, oh, that's someone's anxious, and now we're anxious. We're going to mirror what we're experiencing that's near us. And so I find that interesting. So there is some science and some understanding as to why that's happening to you. It doesn't mean, though, that you are helpless in how you respond to it. So there can be a couple of reasons why you're getting anxious. One, you might just sense it. So it may not be anything that is triggering for you on a cognitive level in like your thinking. You just feel someone's angst, and then you start to feel anxious as well. And when those things are happening, it can be good to kind of mentally remove yourself and do some grounding techniques. So grounding techniques bring you back to the here and now. And so, feeling the seat underneath you, or having something in your pocket that can be grounding, like a worry stone or a smooth stone or a rock. Sometimes having smells can be grounding, like having some aromatherapy or some oils like on your wrist that you can smell, or wearing necklaces that actually carry a scent. They have those. That can be grounding. Sometimes it's just removing your brain and from that situation and grounding yourself in your environment, finding, things that you can, start with an A, things that start with a B, things that start with a C, that just kind of takes your brain into your environment and away from what you're getting hooked into. So grounding can help, breathing can help if you want to kind of reset your nervous system. Some square breathing, a couple of breaths in, breath out, that can help. But if it is possible and if it's necessary, removing yourself from that environment can be helpful too. Not that we always want to avoid, but if I'm sitting next to a stranger and I feel like they're amping up or they're being really harsh to their kids, that impacts my energy level. It impacts my comfort. I start to feel that actually happened to me the other day. I was out with my daughter and we were painting pottery at a pottery place. And a parent and her son came in, and she was already yelling at him before they even sat down, and he was like 4 or whatever. And both of us, I could tell, my daughter too, like we just felt uncomfortable. Like her negative energy was coming in. If someone came in and they were anxious and they were worried that they were going to have a panic attack, or they were, having, some panicky behaviors, that would make me just as anxious because I could sense it and I would feel it. But the anger also overwhelms me. But that's not what this video is about. So if you are in a situation like that and you are able to move your seat or go excuse yourself, that is ideal when you're starting to feel too overwhelmed. And so if you're just sitting next to someone in an airport, or you're at school and you're having lunch and you're just, casually sitting somewhere, you can get up and move. That is being proactive. That's taking care of yourself before you start to spin out of control. So that could be very helpful. If you're not able to do that, sometimes it's someone that we love or someone that we care about, or it's our best friend, or it's our partner, or it's our kids, or it could be anybody, depending on your age, right? Whoever's close to you, that can feel overwhelming, but you're trying to help them. And so there's a couple things that can happen. One is it's triggering your own anxiety. And two, you are absorbing that person's anxiety for them. So those are two separate things that can both be happening. So the first one is they're triggering your own anxiety theme. So maybe they're talking about their health, or maybe they're talking about they're going to be sick. And that scares you because now you're overwhelmed about, what if that happens to me? When my kids feel like they're going to get sick in public, that triggers my social anxiety. When my son is having issues and struggling in public, my social anxiety gets overwhelmed. So when they're panicking to the point where they are dysregulated and they're going to make a scene, I am anxious, but I'm anxious because it's my social anxiety. So pay attention. Is there a theme of your own that's being triggered by this anxious person? And if that is the case, then we have to do our own work in our head like we always do, saying, you know what, if they throw up in public, that I'm here to take care of them. I'm working on not caring what other people think. I can manage this. Whatever thoughts you need. If it's a friend and they're talking about their own health issues, you say, I know that I am healthy. I know whatever your thoughts are that you've used as a skill, we tap into that, right? Do the little extra work that you need to do. Their problems are not my problems. The second issue is when you actually think that their problems are your problems. You're a fixer or you're a feeler and you feel their overwhelm, and then their overwhelm becomes your overwhelm. And that, the superpower in that is that you feel other people's pain, which is amazing because you're so sensitive. The bad part is it's not your pain. It's not yours to fix. And so again, separating yourself out and realizing this is not my problem to fix. What does a friend do? Or what does a family member do in this situation? Or a coworker, or whatever your situation is? What's my role in this problem right now? And so become more logical about it and say, what does my friend need? Oh, my friend needs someone to be a good listener to her. So that's my role in this. Or my parent doesn't need any help right now. My mom is helping my father with their anxiety, and that is their role right now. So separating yourself out. Even with my kids, I say to myself, my role is to kind of coach them and use their skills and the tools that I've taught them, but I can't force them to do that. So right now they just need me to be supportive and to be their rock. So look at what your role is in that. You're not there to fix somebody. You're not there to talk someone off a ledge. That's not your job unless you're their therapist. That's not your job. And even in therapy, when I was doing therapy in my private practice, I would remove myself mentally from being submerged in someone's problems where I felt the burden as heavy as they did, because then I'm not helpful to them. So I was very task oriented. What do they need to hear right now? What breadcrumbs do I need to put out there for them to realize, how to change their thinking or how to view this problem differently? And so even therapists do not try to get hooked into someone's issues to the point where it buries them. So pay attention to what's happening for you when you are around an anxious person. Is this a trigger for your own anxiety or OCD themes, and deal with it in that way? Is it just because you are feeling their pain, or are you feeling like you have to fix this for them? And reminding yourself that that is not your responsibility, that you can be there lovingly to be present for them, but you're not a fixer. That's not a healthy thing to think, that you're there to fix everybody's problems. So I hope that you found this helpful. I'll be back next week for another topic. Don't forget to find the sparkle in everything you do. Take care.